What's up, y'all? Today's another good day for puzzles. You already know what it is. Let's go into the first one. We go into analysis. Turn it off. Okay, whoops. For you didn't see that. Alright, first move is g6 from the opponent. Now, with this puzzle, we're obviously trying to promote, right? And they have a hanging rook. And the rook is the main thing that's stopping us from queening. So that's one of the first things that I calculated was what if we take the rook? Or other candidate move was taking back, kind of delaying. It didn't really delay their queen because we waste the move and then they just take back. So the position would be the same. This pawn would still be here, but these two pawns would be gone. So us taking doesn't really make a difference here. I also realized that like if we take, they just move their rook, and material wise, I feel like we would still be losing. We only have a knight, right? So and they have a rook. So in this case, the rook is kind of free. So I think it's best to take the rook. Now the main things after this is calculating if they push or take. I realized that our knight is pretty conveniently placed. Like if they take, we just bring our knight and we're blocking them from promoting. That was a pretty short calculation. So now the complicated one is now what instead of taking, they push. I think they do this in the puzzle, but because of the positioning of the knight relative to their king, you can see that. Well, first of all, where does our knight want to be in order to block the promotion? It has to be in one of these two squares to block it, or this one, but like it doesn't. It seems super far away, right? These two seem more realistic. After thinking about that, I realized that okay, I can check their king and make it to this square. So we basically stop them from promoting. And our pawn, because it's so close to our king can protect it from protect it and guide it to promotion. Say if their king comes in, we just like bring our king as well. So that ended up being the solution. Um, we check, they move towards our pawn, trying to stop promotion, and then we just block. They ended up promoting to a rook, but at this point, it's the end of the puzzle. We just take, and now we're about to queen. Say, for instance, we come here, and now they can't stop promotion. Our king protects these squares. Yeah, so that's the first puzzle. Pretty good. Let's go to the next one. Okay, this is the second puzzle. Let's go to analysis, just so you can see better, and I can move the pieces. So they move here. This one was kind of difficult. I did end up getting it, but it's a little bit confusing because there's a lot of things going on. I feel like I always say that, but that's just how it is. Some candidate moves that I had were pushing this or attacking their queen, seeing if that does anything. Like if my bishop was here and it came in like this, would that, make their queen not able to run anywhere? Queen has a lot of squares, so I knew that that really wasn't the case. It's not like it's getting trapped or anything. If I take here, this is pretty common. They just bring their rook, one of their rooks, could be either one, and then it's just a series of trades, but they get to infiltrate with their rook. That's like one of the common themes when this is free and they have connected rooks. They just you do take a pawn, but depending on how things are looking on your back rank and I guess your second rank, it might not be as good for you. So you can see in this case, like our bishop's hanging here. We would have to defend, and our queen is now kind of out of play, away from all the action in like the center of the board. So something like that is not really good to go for if their infiltration is better than yours. One thing that I noticed for this puzzle, a common theme is like when their pieces seem overextended, you can always use your pawns to push them back. And if they do go back, it really limits the amount of squares that they have to move, and it kind of traps them. So I noticed that here their knight is a little bit overextended, not super, but are looking back at where they can move back to, there's only one square, which is here. So if I were to push my pawn here, I realized that they only have this square. If they move here, they lose it, right? So they only have this square to go to. Now I can continue. Now, I guess at this point, I noticed that there's a potential fork in place. Like all I need to do is get a pawn here somehow, and the pawn would be supported by another pawn, and it would be like a fork. This is like a pretty common fork idea. And I saw that leading up to that, there's another pawn fork that could happen, like with the bishop and the pawn, and that would be supported by my bishop. So for instance, like in this case, the solution is e5. Um, they allow the trade, but you see after the trade, I continue to attack their bishop because it's been defended by my bishop. And if they move away, let's say for instance like they move here, now I can go for a clean fork like I mentioned before. It creates a V. So here in the puzzle they actually ended up moving their queen. I don't know, maybe they thought this is a better move, but in this case it's just a free piece, right? So that's the end of the puzzle. Like I said, if they decided to move their bishop, it would just be another fork like this way. Yeah, that's this puzzle. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, this one's a pretty good puzzle as well. I saw that their king is pretty caged. It's just missing like a light square bishop or a light square diagonal to like keep caging it, right? If we were to cage it, I'll highlight the squares that are taken. Here. If we were to cage it, then these squares would also be, also be taken, and it's just a matter of like somehow mating him here. I also knew that it was a mate. It's very likely a mate puzzle because we're down, was it like 2 pieces? You can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 6 pieces. We have 4. So there's only 2 candidate moves. Queen up to check. Like for instance, I'll play it out. Oops. Oh, my bad. I didn't realize you guys couldn't see it. Okay, so again, I was talking about this diagonal right here. Their king is almost caged. It's just a matter of controlling this light square diagonal. So there's a couple of potential moves. One is moving the queen up, taking this diagonal. He would have to move here, and another one would be moving the bishop up. Oh, sorry, moving the pawn up to discover check with the bishop. He would have to move here as well. Let's go with this one first, because this is, I don't think this is the solution. But here you can see like there's no really clean way to, there's no clean way to attack with your rook because your rook is actually pinned. So I actually didn't see that in the puzzle, but I saw the queen check, which led to mate. So that's why I went for this one. So the queen checks. They move here. In order to continue the attack, there's no obvious checks, but the only check to give really is moving the pawn up. So I gave that check. I saw that. Hold on, why can't you go here? I guess it's the same. Is this the same mate? Oh yeah, that is mate. Okay, yeah, so they have to take, and now the rook is coming in for mate. You can kind of see that here, right? Because once they take here, these squares are defended by the king, and when the rook slides over, that can deliver mate down the file. I guess same for this case, like I just showed. This is also mate because these squares are all taken and guarded by the queen. So yeah, going over that solution from the start, just check with the queen, move the pawn, discover check, and now this is just a queen mate. Okay, next puzzle. Remember to click on the analysis. Okay, I actually did not end up getting this one. I feel like I overthought it a lot. I'll show you why. So there's only one obvious move, one check that actually works. You can give this check, thinking it's something, but the queen is actually guarding it, so it just hangs the rook. So the only check that makes sense is here. The position is kind of strange because the material seems super strangely unbalanced. Like it's hard to calculate. But the pawns are really strong, so yeah, even though they're down material, I think like if we traded some pieces, like it's not clear who's winning. But here, so we check with the pawn. If they don't take it, we just promote, right? So they have to take it. It's either just the queen or the knight has to take it, and obviously they don't want to give up their queen, so knight has to take. Um, the move that I got wrong here was I threw in a check here, and it turns out that the king just ends up running, and the king is actually pretty safe once he gets here. And one threat on black side is actually to push the pawn and just give mate. Excuse me. At the very least, you win a piece. Black wins a piece, and with the connected three connected pass pawns, it's pretty tough to play for white. Obviously, the better move and the correct move is just to take with the rook. I thought that this didn't really that just won material and didn't really threaten anything, but you can uh, after looking at the analysis, I realized that this is actually mate. If I'm able to bring the rook down, say if they played some waiting move, this is just mate. You have ladder mate. This is protected. The rook here is protected by the knight. So you're actually threatening checkmate here. So they have to take. And then you just take back and you're up a couple pieces. And because even though you have these three connected pass pawns and this pawn, the rook and bishop combo are just too strong. This one can block, and then your king can come up, and yeah, they're probably not promoting. So that's that puzzle. This is the last puzzle. Let's go over it. Analysis. So this one also took me a while, mainly because I kept calculating this, trying to make something of it, and yeah, that wasn't it. Um, but luckily, I still got this one from calculating. I think one thing from that I noticed was this bishop is hanging. So how can I kind of like make that to my advantage? I saw that, okay, if I harass the queen here, I would lose the pawn. So I was like, oh, that doesn't look that good. I don't know what the follow-up is from here. Like, is this pawn hanging like this, threatening the bishop? But they just slide over, and everything from their side is defended, right? This pawn is defended by three pieces. I could take their pawn, I guess. But it doesn't look very good. Like, yeah, the threats along here, potential threat here. sorry, threats along here, potential threat here for this diagonal once the queen moves away is not very, doesn't feel very good. So it wasn't conclusive to me that this would be winning. So after this move, this is actually the correct solution. I saw that, oh, if they take the pawn, I just fork them. Yeah, and that ended up being the solution. At first I saw this because I wanted to like activate my pieces, but then, you know, this is a check. And now they're free to move their bishop however they like. And that's not very conclusive. So I realized that it's more of a yo-yo. I'm attacking their queen. They have to, I don't know why they take. I guess they have to. I'm not sure. But they ended up taking, and now I fork and they have to lose a piece. So here, this is the end of the puzzle. Okay, cool. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.